What's going on, everybody? I don't really have anything specific to talk about in this one. Just gonna ramble, I guess, for a little bit. I've been gone. I haven't been on my channel for a while. Probably, I guess, in a month or so. Just because, I don't know, I took a week off. So like the week before I took off, I was busy and, well, mostly busy. I don't know. I took off. This is my first week back on the road. I've been on the road. My first week back on the road, I guess. But anyways, yeah. So, I guess I'd been gone from home for 3 months or so, and I decided to. Usually I take 4 to 5 days off when I come home. Normally 4 days, but when I go home and I take 4 days off, it's like I never get anything done. I get stuff done, but there's a whole bunch of shit that I didn't have time to get to, and I don't get to spend the time with people. It's like I don't really get to relax. So this time, you know what? I set like $2,000 aside, just for like $2 or $3,000 aside, just for just so I could. I took 6 full days off. 6 full days off, and then the half day. It was the half day of me getting there, and then I took 6 more days off, and so that was good. That really gave me the chance to actually, go out to dinner and spend some time with friends I haven't seen in a while, and not be in a fucking rush. And it gave me a chance. Then I could go home and sleep in and stuff like that. So it was nice, and I set aside all this money, and of course I spent a shitload of money. I go back, I planned it out so I could be home on Mother's Day, but so I was gonna be home for Mother's Day weekend, and then 4 days after that. But then while I'm there, I went to my sister. My sister graduated college, so I went to her graduation. And then my dad was coming into town, so I got to see him because he was there for my sister's graduation. And then on Mother's Day was my niece's birthday, so she had a birthday party. She turned 3 and all that stuff. So when I got home, I got a couple gifts for Mother's Day, and I was like, well, okay. And it was my sister's birthday week too, so it was like I got Mother's Day gifts. I got birthday gifts for my sister. I got birthday gifts for my niece. And, I went ahead and just got Father's Day gifts, just because my dad was already going to be there. So I was like, fuck it. I'll just buy all these gifts all at one time. So I bought a whole bunch of fucking presents and stuff, gifts. And then I took care of some other shit that I need to take care of. Like, I needed to get some work done on my my Mustang. So I put some money into that. So, I was having a problem with the window. The fucking window came off of the track of the regulator, so I had to get that fixed. And I need to put some more work into it and stuff like that. It needs 2 new tires, but I'm thinking instead of the tires I have on my Mustang right now are a weird fucking size. They're this weird low pro size that like only one tire manufacturer makes, and it's like $150 a tire. And it's not so much how expensive they are, they're really hard to fucking find. They're like special order tires. And I don't even like the size that they are. They came with a set of wheels that I bought, and I left them on the car because they had a lot of life left on them and stuff. But instead of getting 2 new tires, I'm thinking I'll just take that $350 and put that towards a new tire and wheel set for like $1,500-$1,600 or something like that. Because I'm gonna put new, different wheels on it, nicer wheels on it. But I can order the wheels with the tires already on them and have them shipped, with the tires mounted and balanced and with nitrogen and all that shit. And I'm thinking I might just do that so that I can order them and have them shipped like to my mom's house or whatever, and then when I get back, I'm probably not gonna do this for a while. I mean, $1,600 is a lot of money, but at some point, probably, you know, when I get to that point, I'll order these, and I'll order them so that they get to my mom's house, and then when I get home, they'll be there, and I could just mount them on the car, and I'm good to go. You know, I'm gonna go with the. It has chrome wheels on it now, but I'm gonna get a different style of chrome wheels, and then I'm gonna get them staggered so that there's a 1.5-inch lip on the rear wheels, with like some Mickey Thompson street drag radials or whatever the fuck. You know, it's gonna be fucking cool. It's gonna be expensive, but it's gonna be cool. So, you know, that's me putting money into that goddamn car, but it needs it. It was supposed to be a project car. My Mustang was not supposed to be like a car I drive all the time. It was just supposed to be a hobby car. But things just so worked out that, you know, my F-250, which is like my beater that I drive to work, and it's my commuter vehicle. It used to be a work truck, but since I quit working construction, now it's just my beater, you know. But it's up in Wisconsin. It's parked at the yard in Marshfield. So, you know, my Mustang stays in a storage unit in Texas, so now when I go home, I have wheels that I can drive around. So, but you know, which, you know, I hardly put any fucking miles on the car anyway, but it wasn't really supposed to be a car that I drive around a whole lot. It's supposed to be a project, but it's just how things worked out, and of course, you know, it fell by the wayside like all the other fucking projects in my... I'm a project motherfucker. I've got to have things on the side burner to work on, you know what I mean? I've got a garage full of just I got 3 toolboxes full of all my automotive tools, you know, and all my power tools and all my bullshit, you know, for my various projects. And, you know, I just, you know, whenever I'm bored, I'm like, I'm never bored. I mean, when I was at home before I started doing this job, like, you know, I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? Because I've got a little flatbed trailer, a utility trailer. You know, for instance, oh, okay, you know what? I need to pack the bearings on that trailer, or let me put some new lights on it, or whatever, or, you know, rewire it, or whatever the fuck, you know. So I've rewired it to put all new lights on it and do this shit, you know. Or like, okay, you know what is that? I have like a list of things the Mustang needs. Okay, I need to change out those O-rings on the steering rack, so let me go ahead and do that, and, you know, that'll kill an afternoon and shit like that, you know. And I'll work on my F-250 and my Mustang. That's why I'm a Ford fan. It's just because the parts are cheap and they're easy to work on, you know. And I'm a dedicated, loyal Ford fan, you know. For all the Chevys, I fucking hate working on Chevys. Sorry, they're just a pain in the fucking ass to work on. But I digress. So, you know, I set a couple grand aside so I could take Hometime, you know, and I probably spent $1,200 or something like that while I was home, I think. Not as much as I thought I was going to spend. I set a lot more aside just in case, but, you know, certain things ended up being cheaper than I thought they were going to be. You know, I set money aside for certain things like food and stuff like that, but I don't know. It's, you know, it's funny, you know, when I go home, I don't eat like any groceries at all. I eat out like the entire time I'm home. And it's really just because I'm always fucking going somewhere. You know, I'm going downtown to meet up with this friend, or, you know, whatever. You know, I got friends here and friends there, and, you know, I go down and have a drink with, you know, this person, whatever the fuck, you know. And I'm always going. I'm always doing shit, you know. And I got the window fixed on my car, and I went in to get my TWIC card too. Something I've been meaning to do for something I should have done a long fucking time ago, is get my stupid TWIC card, you know. But so, you know, I went in and I got my TWIC card, which, for those of you who don't know, is it's the Transportation Workers Identification Credential, which is just, it's a government ID so you can get into the ports to pick up loads. That's all it is, and avoid paying the $150 fee for an escort. So, you know, like at Western Express, I'd go to the ports, and then I'd have to take out cash, pay this stupid fucking ridiculously large amount of money to these escorts. You follow them into the port, and then you usually pick up fucking coils or some bullshit coming from overseas, you know, lumber or whatever the fuck, and then you send the receipt into the company and they reimburse you. It's a pain in the ass. But, you know, like rail doesn't fuck me around like that. You know, if you don't have a TWIC card, they don't send you to the port. They don't send you to a port where you need a fucking TWIC card. You know, so you have to deal with, you know, and especially if you're leased, then you got to pay for that shit out of pocket. So they don't do that. They don't do me like that. But, you know, I finally got my TWIC card, so it shouldn't be coming in the mail. Of course, probably not going to go home for at least another 2 months before I take another week off. So, and then I'll get it, and then I get to, you know, take advantage of it while I'm still out here. I don't know. It was $150 out of pocket, and I don't know, maybe it'll pay off. We'll see. Thing's good for like 5-6 years. So hopefully it'll pay off at some point. I'm hoping that I get it and maybe I get some juicy loads coming out of like Port of Indiana or wherever the fuck. Ports that require the TWIC card. Hopefully I get some really good paying loads out of there because I have a TWIC card. I don't know. We're going to find out. But I figured I'd just go ahead and pull the trigger and just fucking get the thing. Should have got it a long time ago. I should have got it when I was a company driver so the goddamn company would pay for it. Whatever, you know? That's what happens when you procrastinate. But other than that, man, things are good. Things have been going good, man. Been liking my job. Things have been working out. You know, I'm happy. I'm content. Things are working out pretty well. You know, I don't know how people fuck this up. I mean, I guess I could speculate, but you know, as far as leasing, you know, doing a lease purchase gig, I mean, look, I mean, if maybe you lease an old truck that's not in very good shape and it starts having problems and you didn't save up money for the problems, or the problems are very expensive, they're an exorbitant amount of money, you know, or you work for, like, you get flat rate mileage, like 97 cents a mile, and you run for some company that doesn't keep you all that busy, or some shit like that, or you're not saving for your taxes. I don't really know. I don't know. I mean, I average like $1.50. I was talking to another driver about this today, another lease driver. I average like $1.58 a mile. You know, like, and I think I've brought this up before. There's only certain subtle differences between the mileage, the guys who make $1.10 or $1.05 a mile, depending on, because it's a scale, sliding scale, right? Versus the percentage guys like me. But I imagine those guys average $1.05 to $1.10 a mile when I average $1.50 to $1.60 a mile. The only subtle differences are the TARP pay, the fuel surcharge, and the fucking tolls, the Easy Pass. I have to pay for my own Easy Pass, my own pre-pass, and fuel surcharge, I get what the customer pays, 100% of fuel surcharge. They get a flat rate fuel surcharge from the company. But see, I've done the math on it, and like some of the loads, they like, based on the calculations I've done, sometimes I make better fuel surcharge than them, sometimes I make less. But it's fucking marginal. You know, it's like a $10, $20, $30 difference, if that. You know, it's marginal. Fuel surcharges. And, you know, they get, I think, $50 fucking TARP pay anytime they TARP or some shit like that. And I get TARP pay only when the customer pays it. But when the customer pays it, it's like 75, 85, you know. And, you know, most TARP loads I will get paid to TARP. It's, you know, some loads I won't, but it's like, even like coil loads, a lot of coil loads will not pay you to TARP, but it's like, it's one steel TARP. You throw that bitch on, I can cover a coil in like 10 minutes. Pull that bitch off and fold it up and put it all away in like another 10 minutes. So it doesn't really bother me, you know. But I don't know how you fuck this up. I mean, maybe if you're not watching your tolls, I mean, I'm I'm strategic about everything I do. What's funny is, I make a lot of the same decisions that I make now that I did when I was company. And the reason I looked at things the same way as a company driver is because, like as far as picking places to fuel, picking routes, and picking routes based on how much I've got to pay in toll versus how much time I have. I used to do that shit in order to gauge whether I should do it or not, because, like I've said before, as a company driver, I pretty much do whatever I want. If I did it more with Western than I did here, but for instance, like fuel stops. If I didn't like the fuel stop, I wouldn't stop. I'd find another place that has a comparable price, and then I'd fuel up there. Based on, my time or whatever. Stuff like that. Or, like it's been probably over a year and a half since I followed the actual routing that the company gave. I mean, I never did it at Western, ever. I never followed their routing, ever. I always picked my own routes, and I never heard shit about it. Rail, most of the time, when I was a company driver, I'd pick my own routes. Sometimes I wouldn't, depending on different factors, But still, like, I would have to look at the route that they want that sucks versus the route that I like that's a lot faster, but the route I want to take has tolls. Well, I got to figure, okay, how much are the tolls? So I figure out how much the tolls are, how much time it's going to save me, timetable of the load, shit like that. That way, in case they have an issue with the route I take, I could say, look, sure, this route's 10, 15, 20 miles longer, but it saved me like an hour and a half. It saved me 3 hours, and I'm trying to make this load on time, whatever. So I was already figuring a lot of that shit out when I was company. So when I went to lease, it's like same shit. I already, I'm just, now that I have to pay for my own fuel and pay for my own tolls and stuff like that, I'm a little more strategic. There's, there's certain toll, like, for instance, when I go through Chicago, I almost never take 94 through Chicago because there's like fucking gridlock traffic there 24 hours a day. So I almost always take the toll bypasses, 355, 290, 294, and shit like that around Chicago, because it saves me like a fucking hour to an hour and a half. Sometimes it saves more than that. And that $26 that I'll burn $26, but it saves me 3 hours. It's worth it to me. To me, it is. It also depends on the timetable of the load. But you just got to be strategic about it. But then, if I'm trying to make a pickup time, I'll pay that $26 of tolls, and then I pick up the load. Once I've got the load, I say, okay, I've got a little bit of time. This load is not super tight. I can dodge this toll and drop down here and go around this part of fucking 294 I-80 and skip that $12, and it's only going to cost me 10 minutes or whatever the fuck. Stuff like that. You got to be strategic, So, and like fuel, I'm super fucking strategic about where I buy fuel. Like, I came out of Texas and I bought fuel. When I came out of Texas, I bought fuel in Oklahoma City at like $2.07 a gallon at a mom and pop truck stop. So that was $2.07 a gallon, which is just about the cheapest I've found anywhere. And it was at a no-name truck stop. And then on my way up in southern Missouri, I fueled up again at like $2.19 a gallon. I think at a Love's or something like that. That way, once I went all the way up to Minnesota, where fuel is fucking stupid expensive, I had enough fuel to drop that load, run over to Indiana, pick up my next load, and then hit the yard in Gary and fuel up on the yard for $2.18 a gallon. And then once I fuel up my DEF, because DEF is cheaper on the yard. So every time I go through the yard, I fill up DEF. So, now I'm coming down, I'm on my way down to Texas. So I'll get down to Texas, and then after I'm done there, I'll figure out which direction I'm going to go. You know, there's a mom and pop truck stop down there near where I'm going that's selling for $2.12 a gallon. So I may end up filling up down there at $2.12 a gallon. Even if I got plenty of fuel in the tanks, if I could stick it in at $2.12 a gallon, you know, and then I'm full and I can go anywhere, you know, anywhere with expensive fuel. You know, you gotta be looking at all this shit. You gotta look at exactly, like, for instance, okay, I went out to Baltimore not too long ago. In Pennsylvania and Maryland and all these fucking places, fuel's like almost $3 a gallon. But when I delivered in Baltimore, I found this little fucking place that was selling for like $2.40 a gallon. This tiny little place with a diesel fuel island. And they didn't even take my fucking fuel card. I had to pay them cash. But I got just enough. I think I got like 40 gallons, which was just enough for me to make it all the way back to Gary and fuel up at the yard again. So I bought like 40 gallons at $2.40 a gallon. And that was it. That's all. I got all the way in and all the way out without having to buy any of that expensive ass fucking fuel. You know? Shit like that. You just gotta be strategic. I don't know how people fuck this up. I really don't. I mean, maybe I'm just, you know, I'm doing things right at a company that has good freight, that pays percentage, that has decent trucks, where I don't have to idle my truck all night and stuff like that. You know, I'm able to keep my fuel costs down. You know, at a company where I can fuel up at the terminal for cheap, shit like that. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm just doing all the right things at a company, you know, that has good paying freight. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But if that's the case, you know, rail transport, man, I love this company. I really do. They're not telling me to say that. They're not paying me to say that or any of that shit. You know, I don't get anything. They are completely disconnected from my channel. I don't get anything from them. But I really like driving for them. I like just about everything about this company. The only thing I would change is like minor, very, very minor things that are just like fucking minuscule. You know, I can't even think about it. One of my complaints would have been replace the washing machine and dryers at the Gary terminal, and they fucking did that. It's all brand new washers and dryers. You know. So I don't know. I like driving here, but you know what? It's good. Like, I took a week off. This week's check is gonna be in the negative. We're gonna take about a $2,000 hit this week. We're gonna be in the negative for about $2,000. But next week, because I remember, if you guys remember, I think I told you guys, when you pay for your fuel when it comes out of your settlement, you're not paying for last week's fuel. You're paying for fuel from 2 weeks ago. There's a lag time on when your fuel deducts from your settlement. So next, like I'll be negative $2,000 for my fixed and variable costs, and I didn't work last week. I'll be negative $2,000. But next week, say I make $4,000. Let's say, you know what? I had all the math in my head, and then I fucking forgot it all just now. But next week, I won't be paying for fuel. I'll have, like, next week's settlement, not this week, but next week's settlement, I won't have fuel costs coming out, because last week I didn't buy any fucking fuel because I didn't drive. So I'll have, that's about $1,000 I'm saving. It's $1,000 I'm saving next week. So I don't know if I'll hopefully I'm able to come out of the hole and then maybe have 1,000 or so. I don't know. I'm just hoping to be positive next week. That would be great. You know, I mean, maybe I might get $200-$300. Who knows? Be nice to get about 1,000. But you know, no matter what happens, look, I got plenty of fucking money set aside now. Plenty of money. Maybe that's how people fuck up. Look, when you get into leasing and you start getting these big ass settlement checks, you know, when you get $2,600, you set aside your quarter of that $600 into your tax savings, and then you got $2,000 that you could do whatever the fuck you want with. That's your money now. When you get a check, you got $2,000 sitting in your checking account. Okay, you need to have money going into your retirement. You need to have money going into personal savings. I have money going into my IRA retirement account, and then my savings, and then an additional savings account that's specifically for maintenance costs. Now, this is completely separate from the company escrows, because I have a maintenance escrow that automatically deducts from my settlement. But this is just on top of that. It's like emergency money. If I never use it, it's just mine. It's just money that I keep. But it's money that I put aside every week just in case, you know? But as soon as you start getting these big-ass checks, you need to start... First things first, put away a fuck ton of money in your personal savings and shit like that. Just sock away like $1,000, $2,000. You get that $2,000 check, put 1,000 of it in your fucking personal savings, or at least 500, and do that a couple of times, and at least get your savings up to like 1,000 or 2,000, and then you could put in like 50 to 100 a week or something like that. But get your fucking savings up. So then if you decide you want to take a week off, you can do that, and you've still got, you take a week off, and then you're in the negative for a while, and you got some bills to pay. You still got a fuck ton of money sitting in your savings account. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. You know? Rich people aren't rich because they spend fuck tons of money. They're rich because they have fuck tons of money. Right? So if you get $2,000 in your checking account, you spend $1,950, you're fucking broke again. You can live paycheck to paycheck on a $2,000 a week check. You shouldn't. You shouldn't do it on a $200 a week check. But that's how people are. I don't know. I'm just talking. But anyways, you know what? I could make videos about like, hey, this is how to be successful in leasing, but it's like, first of all, I feel like it is fairly fucking simple. It's fairly fucking simple. I've given you a lot of the tips that there are to know about fuel and routing. I could make videos going into specific detail about how I select my routing, based on tolls and based on time and mileage and things like that. How fast I drive, and how I manage fuel, how I manage my fuel average, how I make my decision on how fast I'm gonna drive based on my timetable on the load and how heavy I am and shit like that. My deadlines, whatever, to keep a good fuel average. I drive as fast as I want. That don't mean I do. I usually don't drive over 70. Typically, when I set the cruise, I'm setting it at 63, 65, or 67, depending on different factors, But these motherfuckers that come flying down the fucking highway at 75 miles an hour, like, you know how much fucking fuel that burns? Especially when you're heavy? Fuck me. These motherfuckers probably getting 4.5 miles to the fucking gallon. That's fucking terrible. And you gain like 30 minutes to an hour? Sure, you gain 30 minutes to an hour, but you just burned $150 in fucking fuel. Is that really fucking worth it at the end of the day? No. You drive based on the weight of your load and the timetable of the load. If you got a super loose ass load, drive 62. That's what I do. I'll set it down to 61, 62 and just drive slow as fuck where Prime is passing me and shit, JB Hunt and Prime are passing me like, what the fuck? But it's like, hey, I got plenty of time on this load. Why burn the fucking fuel? Just so I could go fast? Give a fuck about that. It's just stuff like that. But I could make videos about this stuff, but first of all, a million motherfuckers already have made videos about it, and you know what? I don't even know if anybody wants to see it. I feel like it's pretty elementary shit. A lot of it is more or less common sense, but if you guys genuinely wanted to know like how it is I make all these different certain types of decisions and shit, you could let me know and I'll see what I can do. But other than that, I've only been leasing for 2 months, so I'm definitely not an expert on the subject. All I know is I'm doing pretty good. I think a small part of that is that I think I did a good job. I think I made a good decision on leasing a 2017. Because I don't expect to have problems with this truck in the time that I'm driving it. You know, I think that I will probably be turning this truck back into the company by the time it starts having before it starts having issues, when it starts getting to that point in age where certain components, sensors and things are going to start going out. That's what I think. So I think I did a good job by getting a truck less than a year old, you know, especially one that I got brand new. And I'm the only driver that's ever driven this truck. The only person who's ever had it. So, you know, and I think that's the way to go if you can pull it off. If you try to get into a truck that you like, and then if you want to go lease, try to lease that truck. Because if you go for something cheaper, like, oh, I'll get that 2-year-old, I'll get a 2015, 2016, and it's got 200,000 miles on it, 250,000 miles on it. Rookies have done beat the fuck out of it, especially if it's a 10-speed. Gearbox is looser than fucking Sleeves a Wizard, you know, and it's just got all kinds of issues from rookies running the fuck over curbs, suspension's worn the fuck out, and it's fuck all that. Nah. Get a truck brand new from the company, and then after you put 70, 80,000 miles on it, go tell them you want to lease it. Which I know you could do here. I don't know if you could do everywhere, but other than that, I've refrained from smoking in this video because the truck next to me is loud as fuck, and I don't want to roll the window down, you know, and have all that noise bleeding in here. So, you know, you're fucking welcome, those of you who can't stand it. I'll be smoking in the next video, but, you know, wrap things up, smoke another cigarette, hang out for a little while, look at rifle accessories, look at AR accessories for my AR-15, maybe order some shit, spend some money, I don't know, just to pass the time, and then go to sleep next to this noisy ass motherfucker who's got air leaks, so his compressor keeps running and all that shit. But anyways, I can't go on any longer. This video's run long enough. It's a fucking boring ass video, just me rambling about bullshit. But now that I'm back, I think I'll have some time tomorrow and I'll try to make another video talking about some more specific shit instead of just jumping all over the place. But that's it for now. I'll talk to you guys later.